with Bishop Dale C. Bronner.
Just because we praise Him, when we praise Him and when we worship Him, it is an invitation to God saying, come and fill this space right where I am right now with your presence. It is our way of making Him at home. And we just bless Him for taking us up on the offer. If you would turn in your Bibles, Proverbs chapter 6, as we will finish the series in this session on changing your trajectory, how to make the rest of your life better. Proverbs chapter 6, beginning with verse 6 here. Notice this particular passage. It's a familiar passage of Scripture. It mentions, go to the ant, you sluggard, and consider her ways and be wise, which having a captain, overseer, or ruler provides her supplies in the summer and her food in the. How long will you slumber, O sluggard? When will you rise from your sleep? A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. And so shall your poverty come on you like a prowler, and your need like an armed man. This is about a changing of seasons. It's about a changing of seasons. And so when you see that your season is changing, you have to change with the season. Wouldn't it be ridiculous if in the summertime you were still dressed in winter clothes? I mean an overcoat and a hat, a fur on it in the summertime. When you're dressed for one season, but you're living in another season. Can you imagine how that is? And at every stage of life, I mean, can you imagine 80 and 90-year-old people going down to the varsity every day to eat? And eating pizza? I mean, I know that, you might want a hot dog every now and then and some stuff, but if you made a regular habit of that, once you reach a certain age, your system will let you know you are no longer a college student, where you can just eat everything and you got this. No. Your body is old enough to know what I'm talking about, where there are some things now that you can't eat that you used to eat. And if you do eat it, you got to eat it very sparingly and very seldomly. But if you ate it as regularly as you used to eat some of this stuff, then you're going to be in serious trouble. When your season changes, you have to change who you are and what you're doing. There are certain things that you have to change in the season so that you don't become obsolete and mix-matched for the season of life where you are. So I want you to notice how he says, listen, he says, you sluggard, a lazy person. Sluggard is, a lazy person is, it is an indolent person. Say indolent. Oh, I like your vocabulary. But one of the definitions of the word indolent means avoiding pain. Pain. Isn't it interesting that lazy folk are avoiding pain? But now you've heard another little saying, no pain, no. So it's not wise, is it, to be lazy, to avoid the pain of getting up and cleaning or getting up and going to work. If you avoid the pain, there are certain things that when you keep avoiding pain, life will go on a steady decline. And here's the deal. This is how it works. There are so many lives that will never, ever change until the changing becomes greater. Or rather, I should say it this way, the pain of remaining the same becomes greater than the pain of change. When you are dressed in winter clothes and it becomes uncomfortable because of the heat, to still wear winter clothes, pull them off and put on summer clothes. When the pain of remaining the same becomes greater than the pain of changing, then we'll change. something that must be changed in us as life changes around us. We have to change to adapt to it, or else we would still be living in the days of Leave It the Beaver with June and War. And we're in a hip-hop rapping generation now. And we would be out of touch with the season, not able to connect to the generations where we are. The discipline that worked 40 and 50 years ago don't work today. Parents years ago used to be able to look at you and discipline you. And now children are like, what you looking at? But notice he told the ant here that while you're in one season, don't just enjoy the season that you're in. Use this season to put you at a position of advantage for the next season that is coming. Because things are not always going to be as good as they may be at the current time. So he said, prepare yourself in good times for bad times. That was the wisdom that God gave Joseph. He showed him, listen, the seasons are going to change. And you're getting ready to go into a season, he said, where there are going to be 7 years of prosperity, great abundance. The earth is going to yield forth her fruit. But then following those 7 good years are going to be 7 lean years of famine or depression or recession. And he was saying, you better save up some stuff when the times are good, put away some stuff for when the times are bad. He was telling them to save for a rainy day. I don't know where some people got off believing that preparing yourself for turbulent times ahead is against faith. Please remember, faith is not a substitute for wisdom. God will give you wisdom for life to be able to know how to live. Can't spend everything that you've got in one season, because you're going to need something when you get into another season of your life. And so he's saying, go and look at nature. Look at how an ant gathers food in the summer while things are in abundance, preparing itself for the winter season where things will be in scarcity. So you've got to prepare yourself while you're in the season for the next season. You remember when Elijah was sitting up under a juniper tree? And he was running away from Jezebel and all of this, and afraid for his life. And the angel told him to rise up and to eat, drink, and refresh himself. And then he woke him up a second time, and he said, eat and drink. But the first time he did it, it was to restore him for the season that he was in. But the second time that he did it, he was telling him, you need to eat because of where you're going. Feed yourself for the next season of your life. And he was able to walk in the strength of that food for 40 days. What God did for him then, he was getting him to a point where he could live beyond the month. There are so many folks that if your salary were cut off for a month, we would be in deep voodoo. I mean, if they threatened to cut your money off for a month. See, they prepared him, said, listen, I want you to eat now. And he, in the strength of that food, there was something that happened in one season that prepared him to be able to handle the next season of scarcity coming in his life. Please remember that as your life experiences change, you are thinking. You cannot think the same way. You cannot think the same way. Think the same way at 80 as you thought at 20. You're in a different body, different needs. You have different desires. At 80, there's some things you don't want to do. You can't do it. You don't want to do it. Your desires change. Your desires change. But remember that we cannot live above the level of thinking. Cannot. Thinking. It's impossible. You are limited to the knowledge that is in your mind. So you have to feed yourself for where you're going. If you're an employer, you got your eye on a managerial position, prepare yourself mentally. Thinking. You need to find out how a manager thinks. Conduct yourself like the manager. Start acting like a manager before you get to that level. Get there early, like a manager would do, like a leader would do. Start acting like you're on the next level before you get there. My daddy started carrying himself like he was a millionaire before he ever became one. Folks thought he was one long before he became one, because he thought like one. He conducted himself like he was one already. You will never in the future be any more than what you can think that you are right now. And thinketh in his heart, so is he. So your life is limited to the level of your thinking. It is limited to the level. The greatest things that hinders people from pursuing their dreams, though, remember that I told you, it's the fear of failure. But failures are inevitable. Failures are inevitable. You'll fail because of, number one, I just want to review this for you right quick. Number one, because of unrealistic goals. Unrealistic goals. You fail because, you thought that you could lose 70 pounds in 2 weeks. You must have radical surgery and cut a big tumor out in order to lose 70 pounds in 2 weeks. I'm just sorry. If you have unrealistic goals, you're going to fail, not because it was a wrong goal, but because you had unrealistic goals in terms of the fulfillment of the time of that particular thing. You can get in something and think that you're going to make X amount of dollars, and if you think you're going to make it in 2 weeks or in 6 months, because you saw somebody in the advertisement saying that they were making $20,000 a month, and you get in 6 weeks, and what they didn't tell you is that they knew 1,200 people, and you know 6. You have to have people fail because of unrealistic goals. Number two, because of misappropriated resources. Misappropriated resources. Did you know that time is a resource? If you spend your time in the wrong place, that's a misappropriated resource. The people that are called to help you, if they're working in the wrong area, that's a misappropriated resource. Number three, because of changing conditions and circumstances. Conditions and circumstances. There were so many people that were making good money in the housing market and certain types of things, in the banking industry, when things were just flourishing, booming, and you could just get a loan just like that. But what happened, the market changed, conditions changed, the bubble burst. It burst. Conditions and circumstances can cause failure. Number four, lack of skill. Just not do it. You can have great desire. You got to have more than a goal and a desire to do it. You got to have some skill. You can't just want to be a baker. You got to know how to bake. You can't just have this dream that that you're a ballerina and you don't have any skills. I mean, you got to have some skills to be able to make the cut. You got to, I mean, you're not going to be on the first string on the football team if you don't have you got to have the skill. You can't be a legend in your own mind. No. You have to have skill. Some people fail because of lack of skill. Number five, poor preparation. Poor preparation. It's essentially the reason for every failure is preparation, lack of preparation. Number six, inadequate or accurate information. Inadequate or inaccurate information. Have you ever made a bad choice on something because you just didn't have enough information? I mean, people can pull the wool over your eyes money with something because you didn't really know how much to really pay for this thing. And somebody was talking real fast. And you didn't have time to read the fine print? Have you ever downloaded something and then you have to check this thing that I have read this information and I agree to the terms? Do you read that stuff? We're trying to get to the program. I'm just clicking. Just come on, get out of my way. I know they got to do it for legal reasons, but who in the world is going to read all of that? I opened it up one time and just scrolled. I started reading it. I got so sleepy. I'm like, I am not about to read all of this. And there's get a life. But inadequate or inaccurate information. If they're trying to do something, you better read the fine print, because if they're going to trip you up, the trick is going to be in the fine print. In the fine print. And then you are legally bound in the fine print. And number seven, because of wrong assumptions. Wrong assumptions, because you assumed that you could do it this way and you thought that you had it. No, wrong assumptions. So many people, because of wrong assumption. I didn't know that much. I didn't know. I assumed that there would be no problems. I assumed that it was going to work just like my plan had it. Just like my plan. Now, I have things with you that teach you how to fail well. How to fail well. All true success is born out of failure. All true success is born out of failure. Now think of it like a little child who is learning to walk. You don't learn to walk without falling, do you? Falling is a natural part of learning to walk. You know, weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. But we fall down. We fall down. And so if you know that you're going to fail, failure always precedes success. Very rarely does a person attempt to do something and do it as they can the first go round. Remember this, that the only place that you start out on top is when you're digging a hole. Don't ever think that you can start something off and it's going to be the level best that you can ever get. You never start off as good as you can develop into. I don't care how bad you are and how naturally talented that you are. Did you know that natural talent can always be developed? It can always be developed. Natural talent can always be developed to a higher level. You may be naturally gifted in some things, but you can take that natural gifting and even make it better by practice. So I just want to share with you on how to fail well. Number one, don't overreact when you fail. Don't overreact when you fail. You know, just crying for days and just buckets of tears. Because when you overreact whenever you fail, it makes you look weak and insecure. Everybody fails at something at some time in their life. They may be big balling today, but listen, they didn't start off that way. Everybody fails. Don't overreact when you fail. Failure is normal to life. Read my lips. Failure is normal to life. It is normal. You learn your greatest lessons from your failures, not your successes. The things that taught you the real lesson is because you've been down that road, you found out the bridge was out, you bumped your head, wall, you trusted people. Anybody ever been there? Well, you got hurt because you trusted people, you were naive, and you thought just because you wouldn't hurt anybody, and you thought you know, you were kind to people, you love people, and you know, you had a big heart and everything, you just came out and they just like, come on, yeah, just get in the car. And ladies, you all know some of the lines. Oh my goodness, I can't even go there. I'm so tempted, but I'm not going to do it. Here's number two. Don't pretend that everything's okay. Don't pretend everything's okay. So when you're talking about how do you fail well, don't pretend that everything is okay. I'm just sorry. I don't like failure. I don't think anybody likes failure. Nobody likes to fail. Nobody likes to fail. So don't pretend that everything's okay. That makes you look disconnected. I mean, if you fail, you know, if somebody tell you, no, no, you failed. Don't you? No, it's not. Have you ever been in a situation, you know, I was a very, very reserved person. I don't deal with rejection very well. So I'm the type, I'm not going to just lay a line on some woman trying to you know, some people can do it and it's like water right off of a duck's back. The woman just telling me like, get lost. And it just move right to another person still smiling. I mean, had First Lady told me something like that, I would have gone in a corner and gotten in the fetal position and would have been sucking my thumb for about 2 weeks. So I am so cautious along those lines that, see, I never would have even approached. I not looked in her eyes and been able to sparkle of confirmation saying that, oh. First Lady gave me signals to let me know. Ladies, let me tell you, you can say more with your eyes than you can with your mouth, your hands, and your feet. The eyes tell the story. That's the window of the soul. You don't even have to open your mouth. Somebody can look over across the room and with their eyes. Homegirl's eyes were sparkling. And see, she has light-colored eyes. I don't know, blue or green or gray or whatever color they are. But because of that, it makes it very easy to see her pupil. If a woman with light-colored eyes, if you see her pupil dilate, I shouldn't give the secrets away. I'm not going to do that. The point is, don't pretend that everything's okay if you've been rejected. You know, I mean, we're human beings. We are human beings. Nobody wants to lose. We want to win. We want to win in life. To win. But I tell you this, there's something about our failures that prepare us for our next big win. That prepares us for the next big win. Here's number 3. Take responsibility, don't blame. Take responsibility, don't blame. Remember, whoever you blame in your life, you empower. Saying it was their fault. You're saying that they've got more control over your destiny than you do. So don't blame. You take responsibility. If you really want to fail well, take responsibility, don't blame. People respect responsible leaders. God did not have respect for, he didn't have respect for Adam when Adam went there and said, the woman that thou gavest me. Because he refused to accept responsibility. Did you know that that is the definition for denial? Denial is refusing to accept responsibility. What do you mean? Have you ever seen children and somebody break something and you get the straight out of as to who did it? It was a group of them. And you just can't get the straight out of them. I mean, even our own children. In my house growing up, my children use the wall for artwork. You know, that's the canvas. And we would find sometimes over behind the sofa, by the sofa, artwork on the wall. And we'd line up and said, excuse me, who did this? And everybody just looking at the other one, nobody fesses up. Everybody just looking, and we're seeing little stick people, on the wall. Or just some beautiful art. And we're trying to tell them, listen, if we encourage your creativity, we want it to operate. Here's your canvas here. Here's the paper here. And we just sometimes discover it. One time coming up the steps, there was a canvas. The wall was. We just couldn't get the straight out of who did this? Who did this? Let me just say, me and my brothers, I grew up with 5 other brothers. And we did the same thing to our parents. They would ask, which one of you all did this? We had a code, a brotherhood. We really did. And one of the things I was so ministered to, you're talking about how to fail well. I was over in the country of Panama. I had just left the White House where I had prayed for the president of the nation. And the president sent an entourage in front of us to send us to take me back down to the Panama Canal. I wanted to see the canal, and it was such a beautiful experience. And so, probably 6 or 8 different police officers, maybe 6 in front and 2 in the back. And one of the ones on the motorcycle fell on his big Harley Davidson. Those are some heavy bikes. It was so heavy he couldn't get it up. And so the car would go there and to lift the motorcycle up. Well, when we got to the airport, we didn't want him to feel bad. So we asked the question, which one of you fell? You know what their response was in unison? We all fell. We all fell. Now, this was a fraternal order of police officers. They would never identify the man who fell. They said, we all fell. They were covering their brother. Now, I know a whole lot of folks that had they said, who fell, they would have been like, I mean, they would have been pointing to the person, or they would have immediately said, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. But they all took responsibility and said, we all fell. I thought they were killers, but they never identified the guy. They never identified the guy. I call falling well. That's what I call real teamwork. You take responsibility and you are all one team. It wasn't just your failure. This was your failure. Can you imagine the love and camaraderie that was built among each other? Because the one who fell, he knew who he was. And they knew who he was. But we didn't know. And I know that their relationship was strengthened because they fell and they were able to stick together at that time. Never forget this, that when a person least deserves love, that's when they need it most. When a person least deserves love, but I want you to be able to take responsibility, don't blame. Number 4, if you say, I was wrong.
Thank you for watching Power for with Bishop Dale C. Bronner. Until next time, God bless you.